to show you is 432, which is kernel debugging. The simplest kind of kernel debugging that you can do with just one machine. The other one we'll do later. So remember, we're here. You got your application going to kernel 32 to ntdil and then into kernel mode. This is called NT for short. And so we're going to look at the kernel. The kernel is this one file, NTOS kernel. And you can examine it with CFF Explorer is a tool you get in C Windows System 32. It's a tool you get in the Flare VM. So I can do NTOSK. There it is, NTOS kernel. So I right-click that and open with CFF Explorer. And here it shows me the structure of the file. And the thing I want to look at here is the export directory, which is here. Here's the exports. And you see down here, here are all the kernel functions. ALPC, create security context, and B's and C's, many kernel functions doing things down here. Starting with ALPC, create security context. All right, now I'm going to use local debugging, and in order to do that, I've already done this. I have to execute some command line commands to turn debugging on with BCD edit and set debug settings to local. So I tell it I'm going to debug this machine locally. And now I can do that directly from WinDbg. So it's WinDbg. Not listening to me. All right. Run it as administrator. And once you've got it going, you have to tell it what to debug. And it is file attached to kernel. And I could attach to other computers over the network and such, but I'm just going to attach locally to this machine right here. And so now I'm ready to examine the kernel on this machine. So I can see the modules with LM, and here's various modules, and the only one with symbols is the kernel called NT, and that's NTOS kernel. And so all right, I can click the blue NT link, and now it will show me more information about NTOS kernel. And if I go to functions here, it's going to show me all the kernel functions, including this ALP stuff that we saw the other way. And there are many of them. And if you scroll back, this is, like I say, the thing about WinDbg is it tries to have a GUI, but it's a really stupid, almost useless GUI. It'll let me pick one letter here, and then I'll get a list that's way too long. But you can see, to get the A's, it executes this command. All these blue links do is they execute command line commands. So in practice, to use WinDbg, you still just learn to use these command line commands. Anyway, help is very handy. Local help is here. This is how you learn how to use it. And so if you wanted to learn about X to search for symbols, you put an X here, and then X examine symbols, double click here, and then it tells you how to use it. This is the place you learn how to use the debugger. All right, I can't get my hands on the corner there. There we are, to make it bigger. That's how you learn all the features are. So there's some flags to solve here. You can find the kernel function that starts with warbird. There's only one of them. Then you can disassemble a function with UF. That'll give you a function. You can search memory. You can search memory for strings. You search with S, and you can use this help function to learn how you can search for strings, or you can search for a list of bytes. You can specify how far to search here. This will search starting at this symbol for the next 100 bytes. And find things. Here's how you find strings. This will find all the strings. This is like the command strings. It will dump all the readable strings in this region. You can also use S to search for a specific string. Here it's pointing all the strings. There's just a lot of useful things. And so you can see Microsoft cannot hide anything from you. So you can find the word magic in NT. It only occurs once. And you can find the other word that comes after it. You can dump memory. If you use DB, it dumps it in hex and readable ASCII. You can examine data structures. You can view processes. You can get more details about a process. There's just lots of things you can do in here. You view devices and drivers. And so there's a module here. There are 3 similar functions, but you'll find there's only one that exactly matches this. The other 2 have a different command other than XOR at the end here. And you'll be able to find which NT function has this structure. Be warned that these addresses will be different. It'll be exactly this function, set bcrypt extension host, but the address will be different because there is, I think it's because there's randomization of addresses in the kernel. Anyway, so you can get a look at the kernel and see how everything is there. And Microsoft can't hide anything because WinDbg exposes it.